Hey everyone, it's Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore and welcome to another one of our real estate investing videos. We're doing another before and after complete house flip video. So this is one we made over $100,000 on, and it wasn't that expensive of a property. We bought it for $218,000. So there's a lot of factors that went into that. The market increasing certainly helped us out a lot, and is a really cool property as well. But even with making that much money, we ran into quite a few roadblocks, and it took us quite a while to sell this house. So it's really cool to see that profit number, even though things didn't go perfectly, and they rarely do when flipping houses. Now, if you have not seen one of these complete before and after house flip videos yet, we go over all the numbers, not just repairs like you might see on HGTV or other shows, but we talk about carrying costs, financing costs, selling costs, everything you might have, all the way down to utilities you might pay. So a lot of people forget about those costs, don't factor them in, but they can often add up to be more than the repairs themselves. So we go into that, we show you what the house looked like when we bought it, during the process, after we're done with it, go through all of that, talk about our problems we had, like with a contractor, with the city, and different things there too. So I hope you guys enjoy these videos. We love doing them. Takes us some time and some work, but it's fun to go through them for us as well. If you have comments, please leave them. We love it if you hit that like button. That helps us out. If you subscribe to our channel, we love that as well. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. We have lots of other videos too if you haven't seen those. On current flips we have going, I think we have 10 going. Rental properties we're constantly buying and sometimes selling. Advice videos as well, and even some real estate agent videos too. All right, so let's get right into this property and see what it looked like when I first bought it. And technically, this isn't what it looked like when I first bought it, but a little bit later because YouTube didn't save that video. It's on YouTube, I can link to it, but they won't let me download it. And I simply don't have enough room on my computer to save every single video I do. So I kind of rely on YouTube to store some of those. But once in a while, they have a video that's there, but I can't download it. So we'll link to that, but we'll show you kind of what it looked like right after the demo. This is one that we've been working on, so I've been making progress. It's a pretty neat property just because you've got this house that was built, I think it was in the 50s or 60s, and then it's on a half-acre lot. So huge lot. This is a property that had all kinds of crazy stuff on it when I bought it, and I think it still has most of that crazy stuff. We haven't cleaned out the backyard yet. We do things backwards sometimes when we remodel houses, not because that's what we mean to do, but that's what we have to do. So this is the kitchen. We're obviously replacing the kitchen. We're gonna be replacing the windows, flooring, paint. We're doing a bunch of basement work, limited in how much they can manufacture. So that's made it trickier too. We've had that problem on a number of houses. We have some of our other flips that we'd like to get working on, but we don't have windows for them either. And then put in windows or do a bunch of other stuff and then put in windows. But it makes it kind of tricky when you can't get your windows. So something we have to deal with. I mentioned we paid $218 for this house. It should be worth in the $330 range after we're done with it. It is one of the bigger remodels we've done in a while. In the before video, I think we showed this bathroom, and it was just already gutted, but you can see we're making progress. We do have the tub in, the surround, and you can see it used to have some old, beautiful pink tile in here, which is gone now too. All right, over here, we've got the other bedroom. This is all hardwood in all of these bedrooms. There were some kind of built-in shelving, cabinets over here. We took those out just to make the bedroom bigger, and feels much better just having that done. The backyard, we can peek through right here. There's the well. Oh, we need to get that door fixed. I broke that door on the first video I did. While I was filming out there, I opened it up and the door collapsed on me. So the rest of the house, it's hard to say how much we'll spend on this, but I'm guessing in the range of 45 to 50 for repairs, since we're doing kitchen, baths. The roof needs to be done, windows, and some basement work. There's a lot of work we're having to do here. Carrying costs, insurance, property taxes, utilities that we're paying while we own it. So there are a lot of costs that go along with these properties, that's for sure. We have financing costs too. So when we're doing, all right, headed down to the basement where a lot of the work is being done. So in the before video, which I'll try to splice in some pictures or video, this was pretty much gutted. It had been finished at one time, and then they tore down all the sheetrock. I don't know if they're doing a grow room or what. There's some funky electrical going on. So we got most of that fixed. And then over here, this was all open and kind of a second kitchen down here. So it's set up as like a mother-in-law suite, but there's only 2 bedrooms upstairs, and there's only one other bedroom down here. So you can see where the cabinets used to be. So instead of doing the kitchen, we tore all that out, and we're just gonna make this a bedroom. So there's a closet we put in. Now you'll have 4 bedrooms instead of 3. Makes it much more valuable than having that second kitchen. There's not really a second entrance or anything, so it's not super valuable to have that second kitchen. Over here, this is the basement bathroom, and I may have forgotten to show this in the first video. I remember people complaining that I didn't show one of the bathrooms. It's probably this one. And it wasn't great, but it wasn't amazing either. And you can see here, oh, we were able to make the shower bigger. That's bigger than it was before. So that'll be way nicer. So that's going better. And then over here this is the bedroom that was kind of here before, but again, it was kind of gutted too. They torn the sheetrock off the walls. So lots of work on that side of it going into the basement. But as you can see, it's getting closer. Lots of work being finished up here. And then if we sneak in this way, this is the utility room. And I think before we had some funky stuff going on with the wall in that bathroom, and we took all that out, opened it up. The water heater goes somewhere over here, but it was old, so we're replacing it. Oh, there it is over there. Look at that. And the furnace on this one I think was okay. So that's always a bonus if the furnace is still working and doing well. Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore, and we are in snowy Colorado this morning and outside a house flip that we were working on. So we're going to do a progress video here real quick and ask you some questions about our contractors and if I'm being too strict or tough on them. One thing that really bothered me last week, and that's the main reason I came here, was this empty driveway. But it wasn't empty last week. A contractor who we've just started using recently was parked his brand new trailer in the driveway. And as you can see, there's not really that much room to get your trailer in there. So he was parked on the grass as well. And I posted this on Instagram and TikTok. And I was so surprised about how many people said I was being too strict, too tough on contractors to ask them not to park in the grass. Then they said our grass was horrible and the house is horrible and it didn't matter anyway. So anyway, yes, it's winter in Colorado, obviously. When I showed the videos before, there was no snow. But this is not a bad neighborhood. It's actually kind of a neat neighborhood, and this house has a really big lot. And sure, it needs some work, but so do most of the houses we buy. And I don't think that should matter anyway, as far as what condition the house is in or what it looks like, how you treat properties. So that's my big question right now is, was I being too crazy or too strict to complain about him parking on the grass? And I think he probably saw the message because it's moved now. But it wasn't just the fact that he's on the grass, but the fact that we just had a contractor meeting a week before that, where we discussed different things we like from our contractors, how to make us happy, how to get more jobs, because we do have quite a few contractors working with us. And, you know, the people who do the best job are the ones who get the most work from us over and over again. So if you want to get more work from us, you know, please do these things. And one of the main things we talked about, mostly Nikki runs those meetings, is don't park on the grass. He literally bought a trailer and parked it on the grass after that meeting. So that was something else that was a little concerning. The thing Nikki mentioned in our contractor meeting is, hey, when you get supplies, when you get kitchen cabinets, open them up, check them out, make sure they're not broken, make sure that they are the right sizes. Because if we have them sitting in a house for 2 months, and then you open them up, and you say, oh, look, we have the wrong size, we need to get a new one. Well, for one, it can take weeks to get a new cabinet, and if we've had it for months, Home Depot, a lot of times will say, hey, you've had this 2 months, we can't replace it, we can't go back and fix this, it's been too long, so it costs us money. So, here are the cabinets. And the big question is that open? That is, sure doesn't look like they're open. They are still sealed in the box. This is probably 2 or 3 weeks ago that we had the meeting saying, hey, open up the cabinets to make sure they're not broken. This one, is this one? That one's open. That one, is that open? Well, 1 or 2 might be open. The rest are still sealed. So again, you know, it's not a big deal to, when you get these, open them up, make sure that they are the right size, make sure they aren't damaged, especially when we just talk about that and that contractor actually mentioned in the meeting, oh yeah, it's a really good idea to do that. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to fire this contractor, not use driving that car compared to the truck. It's like, man, this is so light and nimble and easy, but I still do like the truck. But I'm also a car person deep down in heart. So here is the well that we really should have covered. It's not covered yet. But I was the one who destroyed that door doing my first video. That was on the video as well when I did that. That was fun. But as you can see, we still have quite a few things out here that we need to clean up. Oh yeah, and the dirt bike is still there. Someone told me this is worth money. I don't know that much about dirt bikes. It's obviously in pieces, but someone told me that's worth something. I don't want it, so somebody wants to offer us some money for it. We'll certainly entertain offers. And then yeah, we still have the camper shed is of course still here with the tires, which are such a huge pain to get rid of. And then yes, the house backs to a park. So that's also a pretty cool feature. It does back to a little ditch as well, which usually has some water in it, but not a ton of water. Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore, and I'm standing outside a house flip that is now done. I know the yard is not amazing, we'll talk about that. And we had some other major issues on this property as well that really slowed us down. We bought this one a while and had months of delays that we'll talk about why we had those delays, what happened. Part of those are my fault. I don't really have anybody else to blame. We'll talk about how and why. So first off, you can see the yard is super overgrown. It's pretty green, but it's very overgrown. And we have a company set up to mow our yards for us, and we're not sure, well, we are sure now why it has been mowed. He said that it was always too wet to mow because we were running the sprinklers every time he came by. But we're scheduled to take pictures later today. So that's not very good for the listing. This is a house we bought from a wholesaler for, I believe it's $218,000, probably 6 to 8 months ago. It's been a while. And we'll have some before pictures and videos that we crop in here. But it used to be a different color. We painted the brick. It's almost a half-acre lot. And one nice thing about it is has well water for the yard, so we can get it green. Last time we came here, I think the yard was pretty brown. It's because the sprinklers weren't working right. We got those fixed. And then actually the very last time we were here, we talked about how much money it takes to flip a house. And I was in the backyard last week, but I didn't really go through the house all the way. And now it's completely done. So what happened here that caused our big delay? Well, we had a few things. First off, we just posted a video about contractor problems on one of our other houses. Well, this one also had contractor problems as well. And we'd used a fairly new contractor who had done a couple projects for us before this one, some smaller projects. And he started out okay, but then as things moved along, things stopped being as okay. And his work got a little slower, didn't quite get as good, the quality wasn't quite there, and we weren't sure how much he really knew what he was doing. He said he had tons of experience, done lots of work, but then we come out to find out he's asking our other contractors how to do a lot of stuff, or even hiring them to help him do stuff and paying them to help him. So that's not the end of the world. That's okay. We can work with that. But then what really got to us was he started talking crap about our other contractors, saying they weren't working hard, saying they're charging too little, which made him look bad because he wanted to charge more money. Just a lot of talking behind people's back, which isn't good, especially when we've worked with these guys for years. And then they, not only talking crap about them, but then he was talking crap about them to our other contractors who then tell us. So not very smart. So that happened. And then along with that, he bid a new job for us and just came in really, really high, just way higher than his other bids, way higher than our other contractors. So it was at a point where like, okay, I don't think it's going to work out with us anymore. So he had not quite finished this one up, and we had to bring in some other people to just finish it up real quick. So that's always takes some delays. That's exactly what happened on our other house that we just posted. The old green house, it's now gray. But that wasn't the big delay. The big delay, like I said, was my fault, sort of my fault. And that had to do with the city and building permits. So you can see them in the window right there. So most houses we do, we try to avoid repairs that require permits, not re-permits. But every city, every town has different requirements for what they need, what they don't need. And then sometimes they even change those requirements, or different people from the city have different requirements. It can get kind of confusing. But permits can cause a whole lot of delays, a lot of expenses. But I understand why they're there too. For major repairs, major structural stuff, it makes sense. This kitchen's all brand new, by the way. Flooring brand new, hardwood refinished, paint new, lights new. I think we kept the doors. Oh, that door is really ugly. Things we always notice walking through the property. So what happened was when we replaced the water heater, one of our contractors left it in the dumpster showing. And so a City of Greeley inspector actually lives down the street, and he saw the water heater in our dumpster, and it's required that you get a permit to change the water heater. And he looked it up, saw we did not require a permit, or did not get a permit, and so we got a stop work order, had to stop all work on the house. So obviously changing out a water heater isn't a big deal, we can get a permit for that. But then they came through the house, looked at everything, and decided that we had to do much more extensive permit work and redo a bunch of other things. So this is where it gets kind of crazy, and a lot of it was down here. Now, when we bought this house, I'll show you the before pictures. There was no sheetrock in this room. This room over here had kind of a kitchen with some sheetrock. So it technically wasn't finished, but it had been finished before we bought it. There was, nails, pieces of drywall. It had obviously been finished at one point, and the person we bought it from had done some demo work. So we were just going to put the basement back together. Technically, should have gotten a permit to do that, but we didn't. So the inspectors came through and said that the basement was never finished. We have to get all new permits for everything down here, and that we'd have to possibly do egress windows, possibly do a lot more work. Well, I kind of showed them some pictures and said, hey, the bathroom was here, that was already here. There's drywall in some of the rooms, you can see where the drywall was. And they said, nope, it definitely wasn't finished. There were no permits ever pulled to finish it. And I thought, well, that's strange, because we don't always search for every single permit that's pulled on a house from the time it was built. But public records said the basement was finished as well. And usually public records only says the basement's finished if people pull permits, and then, the county or city comes by to check it out and they add it to the county records as being finished. But the building inspector said, nope, that doesn't matter. That doesn't prove anything. And so I'm like, okay, we have pictures to say it was finished. We have, records from the public records showing it's finished. And the county or city basically said, well, there's no permit showing it was ever finished back to 1962 or whenever it was built. So in our book, that means it was never finished and everything's got to be permitted according to code. So I was worried at one point because like this shower pan is too close to the toilet for code. You know, we don't know how much insulation is in every wall because we didn't do all of them. There's a lot of stuff we just don't know. And so we're worried we have to tear out this whole thing and redo it. But the city came through and they made us do a couple, you know, minor electrical changes, nothing serious. And then, if you saw before, they made us put in egress windows for the bedrooms. So we kind of tried to say they were offices and not bedrooms, and they didn't go for that. So we came through, put in egress windows. I think they cost us $2,200 each. Plus we had to do some touch up, you know, around them. So now there are egress windows. Again, even though technically, according to code and the law, if the basement was finished before that code was in place, you know, it's grandfathered in, you don't have to have egress, but they said, hey, there's no record of it ever being finished, so we're assuming it never was finished. So not the end of the world. It could have been much worse, but we had to spend a lot of time going through this process too. So it took us a couple months to get inspections done, work scheduled, all of that going. So it's not just the money of inspections or the pain, it's the time often. And that's what we're running into now with the bar, where we're working on the bar. And, you know, we wanted to change the floor plan a little bit. And as soon as we changed where the bar was, the city's like, oh, you've got to get an architect, you've got to get an engineer in here, do all this other stuff. And it took them 5 weeks to tell us that for building permits, you know. And now we've got to wait another weeks and weeks for the engineers, and just add so much time and money when you bring all that into it. And yeah, so anyway, we're done. The house is staged. It's all finished. We do need to get the yard mowed, and we've made it past that little problem here. Now we will check out the backyard and of course talk about the numbers too. And I think there's a few things. Like I said, we always see more stuff. The garage is really ugly, but we're in such a seller's market that the garage doesn't have to be pretty for the house to sell. I do think we need to move the chairs and random stuff in here that's still in here for some reason. This is another thing. The city said, hey, this little addition was never permitted. We have no recollection of it, and it's too close to, what was it? The electrical meter right there. So we thought, oh my God, are we gonna have to tear this entire addition off? But no, they didn't make us do that. They said they would let it slide. So they did work with us quite a bit. They didn't fine us. So again, wasn't the end of the world. And then we learned quite a few different things. So here's the backyard. Like I said, we paid $218 for it from a wholesaler. We probably spent $45,000 to $50,000 on repairs. We'll have another $25,000 to $30,000 in other costs, and it's probably worth over $400,000 right now. The market's crazy. So we bought it thinking it'd be worth kind of like $350, and things. Oh, look at that! I think that's an apple tree. That's kind of cool. Does have a little garage back here. We cleaned this up a lot back here. We actually found a dead cat back here one day in the old camper shed, which was right here. We did not leave the camper shed, unfortunately, even though it was pretty amazing. And then really neat area too. Backs to a park, and then has a little ditch back here. Always want to be careful with kids when you back to a little ditch, but cool for adults. And then, yeah, tons of room back here. The lot just keeps going and going and going all the way back to that corner. These, I believe, are these grapes? I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, pretty neat property. And I'm glad we finally got through all the inspections, all the delays. Now we can list it and of course see what it will sell for. So it still should be a good flip, even with those issues, even kind of switching contractors a little bit, which happens, and some of the other delays. All right, we're gonna do that fancy thing where I have my screen my face on here while I go through a PowerPoint presentation. We've done whiteboard videos before as well, and we're trying out this new format. So let me know what you think better. Do you like the whiteboard format better? A lot of our most recent complete before and after videos are with those. Or do you like this kind of PowerPoint presentation better? I feel like I have things more prepared with PowerPoint. It might be easier to read, but you guys let me know. So this is one we bought for $218,000 from a wholesaler on 11/20/20. Now, when we bought it, we thought it was a pretty good deal, but we didn't think it was going to sell for nearly as much as it sold for. We sold it for $424,900 on 8/11/21. So we held it 9 months. That's a little longer than I'd like to hold a property, but that happens a lot because there's always things that come up. We have from 10, sometimes 20 flips going at once, so we can't get on them right away, starting repairs. So sometimes we hold them longer than we like. And the market really increased dramatically while we owned this property. So I think we thought it might be worth around $350 in that range when we bought it, and to see it jump up like that was pretty cool. So it was nice to see it jump up because we made a whole lot of money. We still would have made money if it hadn't jumped up, but not nearly as much as you can see, and that's because of the problems we encountered. If we hadn't encountered those problems, we would have made a lot more, which is always cool, but we're happy with a $100,000 profit, that's for sure. And I said we had a few setbacks as well. We had to fire a contractor. So as a contractor we started using fairly recently. He did one other small job, did this one, and just problems after problem after problem kept popping up until eventually it's just too much, and we had to fire him actually kind of midway through this, which causes delays, more expenses, more problems there. The city shut us down on this one for not pulling permits, so we'll talk about that. That was always fun to deal with. And there's always lots of little things, right? Every single flip we do, every rehab we do, there's little problems and issues that come up that we just expect and we plan for. All right, so going through the repairs on this one, we did a lot of work on this house, as you can see. And this is kind of approximately breaking it up by what type of repair it is. So our contractors don't break it up like this. So we kind of have to estimate what they are. They'll usually give us big bills, or sometimes we pay hourly for different contractors depending on how we do it. It's not like they bid basement, kitchen, roof. So that's why these are broken up like this in approximate numbers. But it gives you an idea of where we spent the money and how we spent the money on the property. So for bathrooms, the upstairs bath wasn't too, or no, the basement bath wasn't too horrible. We spent a lot of money on baths. Reconfiguring, doing some plumbing work is about $6,000, adding new surrounds. So there was quite a bit of money spent there. The kitchen, we removed it and replaced it. Again, we use Home Depot cabinets and countertops, so that saves us a lot of money. If we were to use custom cabinets, granite counters, we'd easily double the cost of that kitchen, and I don't think it would bring us much extra money. Maybe a little bit, but it usually doesn't pay for itself. The roof is about $8,000 in that property. We do a lot of roofs. In Colorado, we get a lot of hail, right? Every year we have hailstorms. So if you own a property and you have insurance, the insurance will replace your roof. And usually you can get it with almost out any cost at all. But a lot of times we buy properties that are distressed and the homeowners just haven't filed those claims and they don't want to, and we get caught replacing that roof. So it'd be cool if everybody used their insurance and replaced these roofs, but that doesn't always happen. Paint, we had inside paint and outside paint, so $6,500. We work really, really hard to have affordable painters. In fact, for a long time, we probably would have paid $8,000 to $9,000 to paint this entire house, but we've got some new guys, some different people we're working with, not really that new anymore. We've worked with them for a few years. We're much more affordable, really great, and they actually will work on houses now too with their remodel jobs, so that's pretty cool. The basement's where we got tripped up with permits, different things. So we had to do a lot of drywall work, we had to do some electrical work, had to remove some different things. We had to add those egress windows, which add up to quite a bit. I think they're about $5,000 to add those egress windows. So there are a lot of costs there. It's probably still worth it, right? It's still worth doing, but some issues with the city and permits and different things made it more expensive than we thought it would be. Then there's flooring. We refinished the hardwood floors, added carpet in the basement. So that gets more and more expensive. Everything gets more and more expensive as time goes on. That's how the economy works. Windows, we replaced most of the windows there. Luckily, we got these windows in before we had all the window shortages that we had earlier this year. So we did have those there. We're able to do that. And then demo work, right? So a lot of people don't think about how much it costs to actually demo things, right? You have to tear out the kitchen, tear out some of the bath, trash out everything, remove the old windows. There's lots of different demo that goes into a property, so make sure you're accounting for that too. And then outside work. This one had like that really cool camper shed and some other stuff where we had to remove some of it, patch up some things, kind of patch up the well house, and those all add up as well. And then we have miscellaneous costs that go into everything. So light fixtures, maybe door handles, maybe outlet covers, the dumpster fees. I don't know if we included that in demo or not. There's all kinds of different fees that go into this and miscellaneous costs. So you just kind of have to assume there's going to be lots and lots of extras of what your original budget is. And that's kind of on top of the extras you assume that might happen while repairing it, like the basement extras, some other extras we had. All right, for financing costs, we're always working hard to reduce those costs. Over the years, we've used hard money lenders, private money lenders, banks, and there's pros and cons to both. I have a video that goes over all of those different costs for hard money lenders, private money lenders, banks. I have a video that goes over the best hard money lenders. We primarily use private money now. And so with private money, it's someone I know, another investor, a friend, coworker, family member who I borrow money from and pay them. It's very simple. It's very, very easy. Hard money is kind of similar, but has many more fees, many more costs. They want appraisals. It takes longer. It's just a pain. So I don't use hard money, except really to experiment for my channel and viewers and blog and stuff, to show them what we do and what the cost might be. So this one, I think we had 8% loan with no points, which was really cool. And that helped save us money on finance costs as well. When I first was starting, it was like 11% interest and 2 points I was paying my private money lender. So I've slowly been able to decrease that over time, which is very nice. So we had a $218,000 purchase price, financed 100% of that purchase price, which is $47 a day if you're wondering. That's why you don't want to hold properties too long. Just the financing cost is $47 a day. So we had $12,700 in financing costs on this property. Now, carrying costs, another thing people don't consider is carrying costs on a property. We have insurance, property taxes, utilities, maintenance, all while we own the property, right? It's not free to own a property. If you live in a property and you pay these things, you consider it just a cost of living and things you have. But when you're owning investment property and it's vacant, you still have these costs, right? They might not be quite as high, but you still have them. So for insurance, it's about $2,000 a year, and that is for a specific house flipping policy. So you want to make sure you have the right insurance if you're flipping houses. If you have something disastrous happen and you don't have the right insurance, they might not cover your claim. So make sure you have the right insurance. I think we use Foremost through State Farm or Allstate, something like that. And then we have property taxes. While we own the house, we have to pay property taxes. Luckily, property taxes are really, really cheap in Colorado. So it's $1,500 a year or $1,125 for the time we own it. You prorate it for how long you own it. Utilities, we have electric, gas, water, all while we own the property. And actually, vacant properties sometimes have higher utility costs than houses you live in. And people don't think, well, no one lives there. You don't have to have the heat on as much. You're not using as much water. That's true. You aren't using as much water. But when people live in a house and they have furniture and there's actually people in the home, their heat, the furniture, the different stuff, actually helps produce heat. So if it's during the winter, it can be cheaper to heat a home where people live in it than a vacant home, which is kind of interesting. And you have gas and water costs as well. $22.50 is what we came up for with that. And maintenance, while we own the house, we have to remove snow. If it snows a bunch, the city will fine us. And mow the grass. We can't just let the grass grow crazy. We have to mow it, so that adds up too. So we had $5,375 in carrying costs. All right, selling and buying costs. More costs that a lot of people don't talk about and don't go over when they flip houses. We bought it from a wholesaler, so that means another investor sold it to me, and when that happens, I have more costs than if I buy it from the multiple listing service. So I am an agent, so if I buy from the multiple listing service, which is where most properties are listed by agents, I make a commission, the seller pays more costs, it's actually cheaper for me. But when I buy from a wholesaler, I have to add in those extra costs. So we have title insurance, closing fees, and I don't get a commission when I buy from a wholesaler. But for this deal, the title fees are about $2,000, which is about twice as much as it would be without me being an agent on the deal. But You can do a holdover, which means if you use the same title company to buy it as you used to sell it, then that title company can hold it over, keep the policy in their house, and sometimes it's cheaper than having two separate title policies. So on this one, I don't think we were able to do that because we use different title companies. But if you can use the same title company to buy and sell, sometimes that can save you some money. Closing costs, other fees, about $12.50. There's a closing fee for the title company. There's recording fees, flood certification fees, other miscellaneous fees that go on with a closing, and then commissions to other agents. So when we sold the property, we paid a 3% commission. That agent earned $12,747. And then, so total selling and buying costs about $21,372. All right, so now we come to our total costs, profit, all of that stuff. The cool part of the video if I made money, the horrible part of the video if I don't make money, which we have had a few of these complete before and after flips where we didn't make any money or lost money. And you can see them all. I have a separate playlist that's complete before and after house flips where you can see all of these videos that we've done that list all the numbers out and show all these. So check that out if you haven't seen that yet. All right, so repairs, we had $64,000 in repairs. Financing costs $12,700, carrying costs over $5,000, selling costs over $21,000, total costs over $103,000 on this property. So we had more costs than we normally have on our house flips. We usually don't spend quite as much on repairs, and we usually don't spend quite as much on carrying costs because this one sold for more than quite a few of our flips. It had a bigger lot. The people who bought it wanted this house really bad. So the people we sold it to, the agent had actually been calling me and texting me for months asking when it will be ready, when her clients can buy it. They want to make an offer. And we get that sometimes. A lot of times it doesn't work out or people just want to try and make a really low offer. So I always wait till we list it before I get offers. I think I make more money that way. And sometimes the market changes a bunch. So I want to wait until we list it. And then I'll look at offers, give everyone a chance. That's how I sell my properties. For me, that's how I always sell properties for other clients if I still represent other clients. And so as soon as we listed it, we called this agent, told her, they went through it real quick, made a full price offer, and we didn't have any other offers the first couple of days, so took their offer, went for it. But they really, really wanted this property. But with the higher selling prices and prices going up, that's great. We can have higher margins and make more money. But it increases the cost too, because the financing costs are more, the selling costs are more, paying other agents is more. All those costs go up, and we really have to pay attention to that. All right, so total profit on this one. We sold it for $424,900. We bought it for $218,000. Total cost $103,447. Okay, so the total profit on this one is, I love doing this one because we don't make this much money very often on our house flips. We sold it for $424,900, which is, like I said, quite a bit more than we thought we were going to sell it for when we first bought it. We bought it for $218,000, which is a good deal. Total cost $103,447. Again, those were higher, so we held it a little longer, had more repairs than we thought, and it sold for more than we thought. So that increases the cost too, just because we have to pay our higher commission and different things to the other agent. But our profit was $103,453, which is awesome. So cool to see that. We haven't seen that for a while. We've had a few flips that we've made over $100,000 on. But one of them was a high-end flip. We sold for $800,000, bought for $535,000, I think. And that was a crazy one. If you haven't seen that one, just search high-end flip on my channel. Crazy seller. We bought it. She wouldn't move. She's a tenant. Just insane. Yeah, she wasn't the seller. She's a tenant. But that was a crazy one a few years ago. And we had a couple of the country properties that we made over $100,000 on. But that was back when I was flipping with my dad more than 10 years ago. So that was a long time ago. All right, so if you guys like these videos, please give us a thumbs up, comment, share them. It takes some more work to do these than our just normal walkthrough videos of houses and different things, so we like that support. If you like the new format, let us know. I'd love to hear if you like this or the whiteboard better. And then, of course, we have much more information on InvestFourMore.com, my blog. Hundreds of free articles, free book on there, lots of free resources, and we have 9 books on Amazon if you want really in-depth information on being an agent, house flipping, house buying, house selling, rental properties, commercial properties, all that great stuff as well. Again, thanks a lot for your support. We'll be back with many more other videos coming up here soon. I hope you enjoyed this one.